So I just woke up and I don't have a script for this or anything. So, apologies ahead of time if it comes out really rambly and all. But so as you guys might know, I am in Portland. It is fine. It is a very peaceful city. Like there's all of Trump's bullshit about it's a war torn thing is just blatantly untrue. Even outside of the ICE facility, like yeah, there's people standing holding signs and potentially yelling like "Go home, fascist," but there's no one shooting anyone, throwing Molotovs, all this made up shit. But as a topless equality activist who gets followed by a lot of nudists, because I also support normalizing full body nudity, but it's a separate issue than topless equality. One is about, blatant sexism and stuff. The other one is just about puritanical views of nudity. And I've mentioned that stuff a lot. So if you really want to know, you can go to toplesstoppers.org/no more nudism to hear me talk about that more. But anyway, as someone who has a lot of nudists in my audience, I have had multiple people ask me if I'm planning to take part in the like naked bike ride protests against ICE in Portland. And it's funny because there was actually a conversation going about that in our Discord server, which you can join for free at toplesstoppers.org/chat. And so I hadn't really thought about it, but I found myself agreeing with some of the people in the room that basically, and this is my take on it as well, I don't think that using your body and being like, hey, look at me, is effectively showing how ridiculous ICE is. It's like an opportunistic so the thing is that like with the costumes, I think, like the frog costume and the unicorn costume and stuff like that. First of all, it's great for making it harder to dox you. A lot of us whiteys, used to privilege, are not really encompassing how seriously fascist our government is and is getting worse. Where yes, like even just speaking out about Trump, they will look for bullshit reasons to arrest you or worse. And so hey whiteys, hey cis whiteys, fellow cis whitey here, stop putting your face on all these footages of arrests and stuff, like or not arrests, sorry, protests and stuff, because you're just making it that much easier for the fascists to come up with a bullshit charge and then arrest you. And so maybe stop going, like put a mask on, put shades on. Don't use a super special cute sign that can be used to identify you, or have the sign but don't like post the sign elsewhere, like on your Facebook, like hey, look at the sign I made. Leave your phone at home. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff. You can Google it if you really want to, like how to be safe at a protest. But anyway, the reason that the costumes are more effective is that the the contrast, I guess, of these fucking goons that are like, we're here to liberate the people and get rid of all the rapists and the murderers, as Trump thinks that everyone from Mexico is, as he said himself years ago. It shows how ridiculous they are. It shows how they're cosplaying. And I mean, a lot of ICE agents, they have very little training. They are just like normal dudes who, not normal, they're average dudes who see the sign-in bonus and who maybe, fall for the propaganda that they're actually arresting dangerous people. They're not. They're like ripping, fathers away from children, and sometimes ripping children away too. Like ICE are not the good guys. Sorry, Joanne on next door who thinks that ICE is making Portland a better place by arresting, a 7-year-old outside of their fucking, elementary school. Back to the naked thing. I think that when you are going to something like an ICE raid, maybe an ICE raid, but going outside of the ICE facility and you're just being like, look at me, I'm naked, you're taking the focus away from stopping fascism, and you're making the headlines about yourself. You're making it easy to identify yourself. And the costumes, like, let's just, again, this is something that it gets frustrating. And again, this is rambly, so sorry. Maybe I'll do like an actual plan out video about this at some point. But the thing about nudists is that a lot of them get a very isolated viewpoint where it's like, well, I think that being naked in public is totally fine, and so therefore anyone else who disagrees, they're the ones being ridiculous. And while I do, again, I do think that, you know, people should be allowed to go non-sexually nude in public in certain areas, which, again, is a whole thing. I'm not getting into that. Most people in the U.S. view the nudists as the ridiculous ones. So you're taking the ICE protest and you're making it about yourself. The point of the costumed people showing there, whatever, is to say, you know, hey, fascist goons cosplaying as warriors versus a guy in a frog costume doing a little dance shows how ridiculous they are. A naked person being like, look at me, look at me, look at me, is showing how ridiculous the naked person is to the average American. Not to other nudists. Other nudists support them. But to the average American, it's making the focus about the naked person. So my advice is, if you do legitimately think that, you know, being naked around ICE officers is somehow putting the focus on how ridiculous ICE is, don't. You know, you don't have to go out and get a, you know, silly costume and wear it. I mean, more power to you if you do. And, you know, the ICE people are going to get more and more violent. Like, they're shooting, you know, rubber bullets and pepper bombs and all that stuff at the protesters. So, you know, you might be hurt or worse, but just think about it. Just think about what your presence is really contributing and decide, are you actually concerned with getting rid of the fascists? Because mockery is far more effective than, like, getting mad back at them. Like, be mad at them, but don't be, like, screaming at them and stuff like that. Literally, the frog doing a little dance as he's getting shot at with pepper balls is way more effective than, ICE is bad. That's the reality. That's the reality. You're not going to change someone who thinks that ICE is good right now by just being like, ICE is bad. But by showing how ridiculous they are, you have a chance at showing someone how disproportionate what ICE is doing is doing right now. Okay. Gotta wait for that coffee to hit. So yeah, that's my thoughts. If you genuinely want to be effective and, you know, make headlines and show how ridiculous ICE is, don't make the focus about you being like, look at me, I'm naked, I'm making, you know, I've got all the attention about me, because then all of a sudden the news reports are about the naked people, not about ICE. And we want the focus to be on ICE. So does it make sense? I don't know. Thanks for watching. Hopefully that made sense.